All right, hello everyone. Very good afternoon. So we were discussing biomes, okay, and I mentioned that we have to cover this particular topic in detail. We'll go a bit slow here uh, to properly understand and appreciate the biotic and abiotic interactions. We need to cover the ecosystems. Now, biomes are ecosystems on large scale, so we are discussing them in detail. We'll go a bit slow. Okay. Uh, Today and most probably tomorrow we'll complete the biomes. Okay. After that, we'll discuss succession, and after that we'll go for nutrient cycles. Okay, biogeochemical cycles, nitrogen and carbon mainly. We'll briefly discuss phosphorus and sulfur also. Okay. Then we'll go into biodiversity, the second part of the environment and ecology subject. Okay, so we were discussing savanna biome, tropical grassland biome, and we have seen what kind of flora and fauna are generally found in this type of biome. Okay, now moving on to adaptations. So, plant and animal, basically, you have grasses, right? So, it is dominated by grasses. Here and there, you will see a tree, generally acacia or some other species. Okay, so let us look into the animal adaptations first. So, during the rainy season, the animals, birds, insects, they will thrive, obviously, because there will be water. So, if water is there, plenty of vegetation will be there. So, grazing animals, right, carnivores which feed on the grazing animals, all of them will thrive. So, during the dry season, the uh, problems appear, right? Lack of water, all those things. So during the dry season, surface water from the rain quickly gets absorbed into the ground because soil is extremely porous. So whatever soil is there, it will be quickly absorbed. Rest of the water will be evaporated. So competition for water during the dry season is intense. Therefore, you see at a common pond or a small ditch, you will be looking at herbivores, carnivores, crocodiles, all of them will be living, or herbivores and animals will be drinking side by side. Competition for water during the season is intense. Consequently, most birds and many large animals migrate during the dry season in search of water, especially elephants. They migrate to long distances in search of water. Okay, so migration is one of the adaptation. Now, because drought conditions are sometimes localized in particular areas, in particular pockets, you'll have a dry patch. Okay, so within a large area, one place to another place within a large territory, the migration generally happens from one part to another part within the same area. Migration may be just from one area to another area within savanna. So they will not leave the savanna biome. Localized means within the savanna biome, within the grassland. They will not move to forest. No. So within localized means within the savanna biome, they will move from one area to another area. Where there is a small pond or lake available, they will move to that place where plenty of vegetation is there. So within the savanna biome only, they will move from one part to another part. That is localized. They will not move to forest. So when drought conditions exist for long time and over a wide area, the animals may migrate to another biome until the rainy season begins again. They will come back when the rainy season begins. So they might migrate if this drought or the dry condition prolongs. Okay. Then they might migrate. Generally, it is localized. Within the biome, they will move from one area to another area. They might leave the biome for some time until the rain arrives again. They'll come back. Okay, so although elephants do migrate, they have physical adaptations to allow them to access water that is not available to other animals. So elephants, they have tusks, right? So in elephants, what teeth are modified into tusk? It is a question that has been asked in interviews, IFS interview. Which teeth? So you have different types of teeth, right? So they are for different purposes. You have cutting teeth, grinding teeth, right? Tearing teeth. So which teeth are modified into tusks in elephants? You have studied paleontology, right? Do you remember? It is incisors. Second pair of upper incisors are modified into tusk. Okay. So there is a general saying, हाथी के दांत खाने के और दिखाने के और, right? So जो दांत दिखता है तुमको, so the tusk that you see, it is the second pair of upper incisors that are modified into tusks. Actually, elephant, it eats with the help of molars. Lophodont teeth are present in elephant. So with the help of molars, it chews. Okay, so those are the chewing teeth, molars. Now, these elephants, with the help of their tusk, so we have seen baobab, how the baobab tree looks. It has a very large trunk and short branches at the tip. So it looks like fingers, right? It appears like the tree has been inverted. The roots are upside down. Africa, right? So you have in Madagascar, they are found. In other parts also, they are generally seen, baobab trees. In the savanna biome, this is a common tree. We have seen, right, baobab trees. I have shown you the picture. So it stores a lot of water in the trunk. So the elephants, with the help of tusks, they tear up the tree. With the help of their tusks, they will tear up the tree, accessing the water. They will suck the water from the trunk, allowing it to tear open the trunk of the baobab tree and suck the water from it. So this is, see, there is a, I mean, you might ask yourself, how does tusk help the elephant? To protect itself, obviously, defense mechanism. It has its trunk also, but it helps the elephant to lift things. It helps the elephant to, again, here we can see, to tear up the baobab tree and suck the water from the trunk. All right. Okay. So what about small animals? So adaptation used by small burrowing animals is to remain dormant during the times of drought. So they will burrow inside a small hole into, they will make a small tunnel into the soil and they will remain there until rainy season again arrives. So during the dry season, lightning frequently ignites the brown dry grass that will cover the savanna. So fire is also common. So during the dry season, when there is no moisture, green grass will turn brown, and easily catch up the fire. Lightning generally is the cause. So many of the animals, they have adapted to living with the fire. So large mammals, they can just move away. They can run fast, right? They will move away from the fire. Birds, they can easily fly away, right? So ability to fly or run fast enables the birds and large mammals to escape the flames. Okay, some animals such as small mammals and rodents, they use camouflage to blend with the surroundings and have brown color fur, so that they can prevent, they can escape from the predators. So they can protect themselves, they can hide easily and within the grass and escape from the predators. Now, in case of zebra, okay, so zebra, they move in herds. So they will move in herds, and the white and black pattern on the zebra, it is also useful. Okay, it is also a kind of adaptation. So they are protected from natural predators like lion, because the striped pattern, white and black pattern, makes it difficult to pick out a single zebra from the group. Now, the lion or the pride, so your lioness, generally they go for hunt. Okay, the male, it will protect the cubs, right? So these lioness, they will not be able to single out a zebra so that they can catch it in a group. When they are moving in groups and these striped patterns, they will make it difficult for them to single out a particular zebra. It confuses them. So it confuses the lion because it cannot focus on a single target to attack. Generally, these carnivores, they will go for the young ones or the weaker ones which cannot run. Okay, so they will be very difficult. It will be very difficult for the lioness to focus on a single one because they will be moving, and these stripes make it very difficult to focus on a single zebra. Okay, so one thing is their striped pattern makes it very difficult for the predators to focus on a single weak one, and they can also run very fast. It is not that zebras, they are slow, right? So they belong to same horse family. Okay, Equidae. So savanna animals like zebra, they aren't just protected by camouflage, they can also run very fast, up to 40 miles per hour. And they are very good with zigzag pattern. So they can run in a zigzag manner so that they are difficult to catch. So these are some of the adaptations of animals, right, in the savanna. Now, what are the threats? First, savanna is also known as the big game country. Now, this term game, it means hunting. Okay, game is hunting. Now, many countries in Africa, okay, they allow this kind of tourism where the tourists from Europe, they can come and hunt. Okay, for recreation purpose. They are hunting the animals for recreation. So this big game country, so savanna is known as big game country. Hunting is very common here for recreation or for entertainment purpose. So these rich people, they come and they hunt in these grasslands. So savanna is also known as big game country, as thousands of animals are trapped or killed each year by people from all over the world. They come here for hunting. So savanna wildlife is also hunted as trophies. Okay, so they feel very proud that they have killed a lion or they have killed a rhino. Okay, so black rhinoceros in particular are hunted for their valuable horns. Again, so horn in case of rhinoceros, it is made up of keratin. Actually, it is not a horn. Basically, the hair, they are hair which are glued together. So hair which are stick together. They are glued together. They look like a horn. Actually, these are hair which are glued together. Okay, they stick together to form horn-like structure. It is not a horn like that you see in cattle. Okay, these are hair basically which are glued together, right? So they are hunted for these horns, and they are exported. They are exported to China, basically mainly China, because they are believed to be used in traditional Chinese medicine. Okay, so even some plant species are over harvested due to their commercial value. So there is African blackwood. It is very costly, even costlier than your uh, red sanders. So it is even costlier than the red sanders. Okay, so it is valuable wood. So it takes a long period to come to harvest. So African blackwood, it is very valuable. So some trees are also harvested. Now, in regions where indigenous people regularly include bush meat, wild meat in their diet. So bush meat is basically the whatever they catch in the jungle. So deer or a monkey or a rabbit, right? So this is called bush meat or wild meat. So they also hunt for their diet. Okay, so ungulate populations have dropped wherever these traditional or the tribal people they hunt for the bushmeat. Ungulate means hooved animals, hooves. So your deer, right there, they are hooved animals, or your boars, wild boar, they are also hooved. Pigs, right? Basically. So wild boars or your deers, they are ungulate. Okay, so their population have reduced drastically. So again, hunting for meat. Then prolonged and severe drought, it has a dangerous effect on savanna ecosystem, right? Combined to that, heavy grazing. Okay, severe drought and grazing can change a grassland of primarily edible perennial grass to dominated by inedible and inedible grasses and plants. So if heavy grazing goes on, plus a drought, that means the water is not available to support this grass, flush or growth will not be faster. So due to lack of water, already the growth is very slow, and that too, if you have heavy grazing on that, the grasses, they will be replaced by less edible grasses. Then desertification. So again, it is a biome between savanna or grassland is a biome between two biomes, that is forest and desert. So desertification is again a problem. So Sahel region, so it there is desertification from Sahara, right? So sand dunes, they move towards Sahel region. So to protect from desertification, again, Great Green Wall initiative is being taken up in Africa. So similar initiative is also being taken up in India, where they are trying to build a green wall from your Delhi, almost from your Faridabad area, right? In, parallel to the Aravalli Hills, parallel to the Aravalli Hills from Gujarat to New Delhi. So this region, entire region, they are trying to build your Great Green Wall, similar to that which has been done in Sahel region. So desertification is again another big problem. Overgrazing, these are all there. Desertification is another major problem. So that was your savanna biome or tropical grassland biome. Fine. You now have an idea what kind of animals live there, right? What are the problems? What are the adaptations of these animals? Okay, so we are looking at different ecosystems throughout the world. So ecosystem on a larger scale, that is biome simply. Ecosystem, but on a larger scale. Okay, because we have not studied individual ecosystem. We are looking through the biomes or going through the biomes instead of individual ecosystems, right? Now we are moving on to another biome, that is temperate grassland biome. So tropical grassland we have seen. Now this tropical grassland is present in tropical areas. Temperate grassland is seen at higher latitudes in the temperate regions. Okay, temperate grassland biome. Now As we have seen one type of grassland, most of the features are similar, right? Now we'll quickly go through this, right? So they are type of biome, okay, where the grasses are the dominant flora. So we have vast expanses of grasses and very few trees. Okay, large trees are very few in number, or you will see here and there, but mainly it is dominated by grass. So these are the areas with temperate climates, as the name suggests. Okay, it is found in, I mean, these biomes are found at higher latitudes, usually in the interiors of the continents, that can be found on every continent except your Antarctica. They are seen on every continent. Now they are between 30 to 60 degrees latitude. Tropical grasslands are found in tropical areas between Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn. Here, at higher latitudes in the temperate regions, you will find temperate grasslands. Okay, in the interior or the inner part of the continents. Why we are stressing on the inner parts of the continents? Because if it is in the coastal, generally in the coastal regions, okay, uh, there is tend to be seasonal rainfall. Okay, winds, they might carry moisture, and so generally they are on the interior, because even though winds might carry some moisture, most of the precipitation generally happens in the coastal areas, and winds, when they go to the interior, they are generally dry, so there is not lot of water, so only grasses can be supported with this amount of moisture. So you will not see forest but grassland, because precipitation is bit low. Okay, are you following why we are saying inner part of the continents? Right, they have hot summers and cold winters, and rainfall is moderate, not very high rainfall, because high rainfall can support forest, moderate rainfall cannot support, I mean, a lot of vegetation. So amount of annual rainfall influences the height of grassland vegetation, with taller grasses found in wetter regions, short grass is found in dry regions, relatively drier regions. So soils, what about the soil? So these soils, they are rich in organic matter. First thing, grassland. So grasses, they have very deep root system. So if you see grasses, 2/3 of the grass is present below the soil. Only 1/3 is above the soil. 2/3 is the root system. Okay, so they produce a lot of organic matter. So these roots, they decay. Okay, they will convert into organic matter. But the organic matter will not decompose very fast because of low temperatures. Here the temperatures are not very high, temperatures are low, especially in the winter season there can be snowfall also. Okay, especially as in the case of interior parts of the North America, right, Midwest. So you have 3 to 4 months of snow. So temperatures are low, organic matter decomposition happens but at a very slow rate. Okay, so organic matter accumulates, so here organic matter content is higher. Okay, soils are deep and dark with fertile upper layers. Okay, so organic matter comes from the decay of roots, decay of deep many branched grass roots. Okay, so these roots, they or the organic matter produced by the decay of roots, it can hold soil. Okay, erosion is not a problem here, because the grasses, they grow very close together and the root system can hold the soil. Temperate grasslands are mainly located in the northern hemisphere. It is, most of it is mainly in the northern hemisphere. Okay, so the largest temperate grassland are situated in the US, United States prairie land. So your north northern America, North America में mainly central part of the US and parts of Canada. This is prairies. Prairies, they are also called as wheat bowl. Okay. So these grasslands, they support agriculture. Okay. So you have prairies in the US. They are known by different names. Steppes. Okay. They are known as steppes in you say Russia, and pampas of South America. They are generally found in Argentina. Okay. Now, what about tropical grasslands of South America? They are called as llanos and campos. Llanos and campos. Pampas is the temperate grassland. They are known as veld in South Africa. Okay, so this is the maximize, or you can say magnified image of South Africa. So veld, they are known as veld. In Australia, they are known as downs. Okay. Not studied this. You need to remember, this is important. Okay, if you have not studied, definitely, because see, in geography, uh, apart from, I mean, whatever you go through in the physical geography, different geomorphological features, mountains, rivers, I mean, all those things, individual continents you need to study properly. Okay, so in each continent, what are the different mountain ranges that you see? So if you see Africa, you are studying Africa, so you have to study in detail what are the major rivers in Africa. Okay, what are the deserts, where are the grasslands, what are the major mountain ranges, if there are any lakes in that particular continent. So all these things. Yes, world geography and Indian geography, they are, I mean, if you have studied geography, world geography and Indian geography, they are being taught, right? Separately, I guess. So in world geography, every continent has to be studied properly with all the features. So there you will come across these grasslands. Okay, definitely Goching Leon, generally students, they go through it. But there is old NCRT. ओल्ड एनसीईआरटी में you have land and people बोल के it is not very updated book, but still most of the things with when it comes to your political geography, those things have not been updated, but physical geography remains the same. So at least that land and people textbook, go through it. Similar chapters are present in Coaching Leon, but go through the land and people, 6th, 7th, 8th. So those were the textbooks when I was in the school. So when I was there, it was in my 6th, 7th, and 8th standards. So we studied those books. Now geography textbooks have been changed, right? But those old NCRTs, they are useful. And always keep your atlas and highlight all the main features. All right. So these are the names. You have to remember the names, both tropical and temperate grasslands. Now, just find it, land and people, you will get it. There are many PDFs, people have uploaded them, so you will get it easily. Land and people, just type it, land and people 6th class, land and people 7th class, land and people 8th class, you will get it. Okay, so the climate, so climate, the temperatures are moderate with warm summers and cool winters. Okay, so now we'll discuss in detail what are the temperature ranges, what is the precipitation, but warm summers and cold winters. We are not saying hot because already it is temperate region. With higher latitude, temperature decreases. So warm summers and very cold winters. So precipitation, it is between 30 to 60 centimeters, mostly occurring in the summer months. Precipitation generally happens in the summer months in the form of rain. In winter, it is generally in the form of snow. Okay, so winter months can be very dry and snowfall is common. If at all there is precipitation, it is in the form of snow in the winters. Temperature, so summers are warm, not very hot but warm, and winters are cold. Okay, so if you see, temperate grasslands are somewhat drier and also colder than the tropical grasslands, at least for part of the year. So temperate grasslands are colder and bit drier when you compare it to savanna. Now, temperature in summer can exceed 38 degrees, and winter the temperatures can drop to -40. So that is the temperature range. Summers are quite warm and winters are very cold. So mean temperature in January, it can range from -18 in the north to 10 degrees in the south. Okay, so when we are saying 30 to 60 degrees latitude, so it stretches to large extent, right? So northern parts to southern parts of the grasslands. And in July, it can be 18 degrees in the northern regions to 28 degrees in the southern regions. So mean annual temperature in most northerly areas of North American grassland zone is below 0 degrees Celsius. So if you see in the prairies, the northern part of the prairies is in Canada. So it is very cold there. So northern part of the grassland and southern part of the grassland. Suppose the grassland stretches like this. So we are talking about the northern region and southern region. Because again, it can go up to higher latitudes. It is in the lower latitudes, say suppose 35 degrees, and it can go up to 60 degrees latitude, right? So as the latitude increases, temperatures will fall. So we are discussing this part, northern and southern part of the grassland. Now coming to the soil, I said the soil is high in organic matter. We have discussed that it is fertile. Organic matter decomposition is slow, so organic matter accumulates here. So temperate grasslands, the soil is thick and fertile, especially when compared to savanna grasslands. Here the soil is more fertile. The A horizon, the topmost mineral layer, it is comprised of humus. So high, this is an important feature, organic matter. Now why the organic matter is high? Because roots, they contribute biomass. They contribute a lot of biomass. Again, these roots or the biomass that is contributed by the grasses, the organic matter, it will not decompose very fast because the temperatures are low, especially in the winter months. For 5 to 6 months the temperatures are very low. Organic matter decomposition is almost negligible, you can say. It is very slow compared to your tropical areas where the decomposition is very fast. Here the decomposition is very slow, so organic matter will accumulate. So humus is always present in spite of very low biodiversity of the temperate grassland. So biodiversity is less. Biodiversity is very high in the tropical rainforest. Okay, in grasslands the biodiversity is low. Even though the biodiversity is low, There is a lot of organic matter. Now, because biodegradation occurs at a slower rate than when compared to forest, so decomposition rate is slow. So more organic matter will accumulate and less will be removed. So this type of soil in temperate grassland is called as molly soil. So rich in organic matter. Molly soil, the main characteristics of molly soil is rich in organic matter. Black soils are called as vertisols. Black cotton soil is there, they are called as vertisols. These soils which are very high in organic matter, they are called as mollysols, whose characteristic include significant organic matter content and depth of at least 60 centimeters. So very deep, rich in organic matter. So process like carbon sequestration occurs at a relatively high rate in temperate grassland soils. Now ये क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, in which biomes carbon sequestration is higher? They can give you savanna biome, uh, tropical rainforest biome, tundra biome. So such options might be there. So here carbon sequestration, because organic matter is accumulating, but see, organic matter, when it decomposes, it gives you carbon dioxide and moisture, plus nutrients will be released, like nitrogen, sulfur, other nutrients will also be released into the soil, back to the soil. Nutrient cycling will happen. So here you see carbon dioxide is released back to the atmosphere. But if this organic matter remains in the soil for longer period of time without decomposition, so what is happening? Carbon sequestration is happening. It is not turning into carbon dioxide immediately. It can be stored for a certain period of time, right? So carbon sequestration is happening here. It is higher when compared to other biomes. ठीक है, ये क्वेश्चन याद रखना. It can be asked. Temperate grasslands, here the carbon sequestration occurs at a higher rate. Remember this, ठीक है? Then vegetation, what kind of vegetation? Grasses dominate. We know grassland है तो grasses dominate. So grasses rule the temperate grasslands. So it is a very fancy way of saying that they are the dominant vegetation. They rule the grasslands. Okay, so where trees and large shrubs are very scarce. Why they are scarce? Because already rainfall is less, moderate rainfall hai. It cannot support very large trees. And again, fire fires are very common, droughts are common, rainfall is not very high. Grazing animals, they make it very tough for the plants to grow, right? So that is why you don't see large trees. They are very rarely seen. They are very scarce. Here and there you will see one or more trees, but generally it is dominated by grasses. Temperate grassland boasts rich variety of plants, including low and mid-range grass types. Low and mid-range grasses, small succulent plants, ground shrubs, even small trees and grains, they are seen. Large trees, they're rare. So different types of grasses which are seen here. These are the grasses which are common. So you have blue grama, purple needle, foxtail, Galeta grass, blue-eyed grass, buffalo grass. So these are common grasses that are seen in the temperate grasslands. Okay. Now, trees are scarce, but still trees are found. Cottonwood, willow, oak. These are some of the trees that are seen in temperate grassland. Okay. Now, plant adaptations. plant and animal adaptations we will see, right? So native prairie plants, so plants which are native to that grassland, they have very intricate root system which enable them to withstand drought and compete with non-native plants. Yeah, these the brooms that we use in homes, okay, they are generally made from grasses. Again, brooms are of different types. So broom बहुत general term है. There are different types of brooms. Generally, grasses are used. Okay, so they have very well developed root system, very intricate root system which spreads. So this spreading type of, I mean, when I say spreads, it is not tap root system. Grasses, they have adventitious root system, but they spread very deep and laterally also they will spread. So this is one of the characteristic because they have to absorb as much as moisture as possible. To survive, they have to absorb a lot of moisture, and moisture can be absorbed only through root system. So if they are able to grow their root system very deep and also spread laterally, they can absorb a lot of moisture. So with a root system that can range from 6 to 16 feet vertically and 4 feet laterally, they can spread their roots. Okay, so lead plant, for example, Amorpha canescens, so they can survive during the summers. This is one of the most complex root system found among the native prairie plants. So these native plants, they dominate, they outcompete the plants from outside. So if they are introduced, they can outcompete the exotic plants because of these root systems. So this is the most important adaptation. Very intricate, very deep, and laterally also spreading root system of grasses. So native prairie plants typically they grow in clumps. Okay, native grasses they grow in clumps. ऐसे एक तुमको क्लम्प मिलेगा, फिर यहाँ पर एक क्लम्प मिलेगा, ऐसे दे grow in clumps like this. Okay, so that was the plants or the flora. Now coming to the fauna. So fauna of temperate grasslands. Okay, so what are the common type of animals that you see? You see gazelle. So this is a gazelle. Then you have a prairie dog. So this is a rodent, prairie dog. Then you have rabbits. Okay, jackrabbit, black-tailed jackrabbit. It is called as jackrabbit. Then you see deers. Okay, blackbirds, grouses. So blackbird, quail, quail eggs. Those eggs which have small spots on the surface. Quail eggs, they are also eaten. Okay, sparrows, hawks, owls, snakes, grasshoppers. You see badgers, skunks. So they have a very foul smell, skunks. So these are common animals that are seen in the temperate grasslands. Now animal adaptations. Hmm. So some animals like bison. So in the starting picture, okay, temperate grasslands mein I have shown you the first image that you see with the heading. So in the upper portion you have bisons. So these are kind of cattle. Okay, it is a kind, I mean, bovidae, they belong to bovidae, buffaloes, cows, so they belong to same family. Bison, they have a very broad, flat topped teeth and digestive system specially adapted to feed on grasses. They are ruminants. Okay, many prairie animals, they have front legs and paws that allow them to burrow into the ground to protect themselves from predators. So their hands are modified for burrowing, these rodents. Okay, so many prairie animals adapt for nocturnal life. They are active during the night time to protect themselves from predator. So color of many prairie animals blend with the plant life, so that camouflage to protect themselves from the predator. So these are some of the adaptations. Now threats. One of the most important threat is cultivation, agriculture, farming. These are very fertile lands. So farming is one of the threat where grasslands are converted into agricultural lands. So there wasn't a great understanding of the balance to keep a biome strong as we increased our farming efforts and cleared the land to build houses and industrial sites. So initially there was no, when sustainable growth, all these concepts were not there. So we cleared the grasslands and converted them into farmlands. Yes, sorry. So is the audio and video all right? I had to pause for a minute. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So mainly agriculture is most important threat. Okay, these lands are very fertile, so they are quickly converted into agricultural lands. So most of the land has been lost. So overgrazing is another problem. Converted to agricultural lands or industries, that is another problem. So infrastructure. Okay. So another threat is alien invasive species. They can replace the native species. Illegal hunting, climate change, which are uh, larger problems, right? So these are some of the threats. Now we have completed our grasslands. We are moving on to Mediterranean climate. Okay, chaparral biome. Chaparral biome. So this chaparral biome, it comes uh, from the name of a plant, chaparro. So that is the plant's name in Spanish language. So from that chaparro comes chaparral biome. So that is one of the dominant plant, chaparral biome or Mediterranean type of climate that is seen surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. All right. So Mediterranean climate or chaparral biome. All right. So Mediterranean chaparral is also known as Mediterranean shrubland. So it is, you will not see very large trees here. You see mainly shrubs. Shrubs dominate here. Okay. So it is Mediterranean shrubland. So it is a type of woodland characterized by combination of dry soil, warm weather, and short hardy shrubs. So these are the characteristics of this particular biome. So soil is dry, warm weather, okay, and the characteristic vegetation that you see, that is hardy shrubs. They are short hard shrubs which have hard stem, leathery leaves. Okay, so dry weather or dry soil because the rainfall is not enough. So to preserve or you to conserve the moisture, plants have modified themselves in order to protect the or in order to conserve the moisture. So some plants, they close their stomata during the dry season. Other plants, the leaves have turned leathery to reduce the transpiration rate. So chaparral woodland is characterized by a combination of dry soil, warm weather, and plants that are mainly shrubs which have woody stem and leathery leaves, hard leathery leaves. So chaparral biome is dominated by short woody plants rather than grasses or tall trees. So you will not see much grasses or tall trees. Generally what you see is short woody plants. It doesn't mean grasses hai they are not dominant. Grasses are not dominant here. Trees are also not dominant here. Mainly short woody plants, they are the dominant species. dominant type of vegetation is short woody plants. You will see grasses, tall trees here and there, but mainly short woody plants, they are the dominants. Chaparral biome is a terrestrial ecosystem characterized by distinct Mediterranean type of climate. What do you mean by that? Warm and dry summers. Mediterranean climate has warm and dry summers, mild and wet winters. Rainfall generally happens during the winters. So warm, dry summers, mild and wet winters. So this is the characteristic of Mediterranean climate. Precipitation mainly happens during the winter months. Winters are mild because of rainfall. Okay, and summers are dry and warm. Remember this type of climate characteristic. Now the name chaparral, it comes from chaparro. Okay, it is the Spanish word for California scrub oak tree. So California scrub oak tree, it is Quercus berberidifolia. Quercus berberidifolia. So chaparral biome is not only seen surrounding the Mediterranean Sea but also other parts of the world. You see them in Australia also. You have in South Africa also. You have the same type of biome in California state. It is a state which has less rainfall. Generally, this chaparral biome vegetation is mainly of short woody plants. So chaparral biome, you can see it in California. You can see it surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, in Africa, Australia also you will see this kind of biome. Okay, so chaparro, which is the Spanish name for California scrub oak tree. यहाँ से आया नाम. Quercus berberidifolia. So scrub oaks are short. These are not very tall trees, short trees. They are drought tolerant and they are members of oak family. So these are the most common plants. They are commonly seen in the chaparral biome. That is why names come from the dominant plant species of the area. So chaparro, from there comes chaparral. Now, where are these biomes located? Now, if you see chaparral biome, Mediterranean, around the Mediterranean Sea, you will see chaparral biome. California, okay, central parts of Chile, South Africa, and Australia. Okay, so tiny portions of chaparral biome are scattered across every continent. Okay, so Mediterranean biome has developed between 30 to 40 degrees, sometimes up to 45 degrees latitudes in both hemispheres on western parts of the continents. See, western parts of the continents, they generally receive less precipitation than eastern parts of the continents. That is the reason why on the western parts you have deserts, tropical deserts. Because the winds, they flow from east to west direction in the tropical region. Easterlies bolte hain na. The winds, they flow or they blow from east to west direction. So when they are flowing, when they are blowing from oceans to continents, from ocean towards the continents, they will bring moisture, and most of the rainfall happens on the eastern parts. As they move interior, they become dry, right? Most of the precipitation happens in the coastal regions and some in the interior regions. And as they move from east to west direction on the continents, they become dry. So when they come to the western part, there is no moisture left. So western parts, you can see deserts, western part of the continent, right? So the basic cause of this type of climate is the shifting wind belts, right? So Mediterranean Sea has greatest extent of this type of winter rain climate. Mediterranean warm dry summers and mild winters, wet winters. Okay, so that is why, so this is called as Mediterranean type of climate or Mediterranean climate. The characteristics, okay, warm dry, I mean hot dry summers and warm wet winters, mild winters. They are not very cold and wet. So because of this particular type of climate, so wherever you have this type of climate, it is called as Mediterranean climate because it is characteristic of that particular region. Now, where do you see these chaparral biomes? They are found. So best developed form of this climate, so Mediterranean climate, जो best developed, it is found in central Chile. Other Mediterranean regions जहां पर तुमको chaparral biome दिखता है, this type of Mediterranean climate, you see it in California around San Francisco, southwestern tip of Africa, southern Australia and southwest Australia. Okay. Now, climate, it is hot and dry. So winters are cool but wet, whereas summers are dry. Almost, I mean, summers are dry. Most annual rainfall is received during the winter months. Winters are wet, summers are dry. Precipitation is during the winter time. This is the characteristic of Mediterranean climate. Remember it. Okay? Summer season is warm, dry, whereas winters are moderately cool. They're not very cool, moderately mild winters, mild wet winters. Mild wet winters. So there is sufficient sunlight throughout the year, but summers are more sunnier because in winter precipitation happens, so it is cloudy. Right? So these characteristics, climate features, these are characteristics of Mediterranean climate. Now, if you see temperatures, so average temperature during the cool winter season ranges from 5 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius, whereas mean summer temperature can range from 20 to 27. Annual average temperature is between 15 to 17. See, if you see precipitation you see in the winter months, November, December, January, February, March. There you have high precipitation. Summers, you don't see much precipitation. So summers are hot and dry. Winters are mild and wet. Average temperature is between, you can see, between 10 degrees to 30 degrees. It can range, fluctuate between 10 to 15, 10 to 25, 27 degrees Celsius. I'm going through it very quickly because there is not much to explain. Coming to the plant and animal adaptations, we'll go slow there. Precipitation, temperature, we'll go it quickly. You can just read it, right? Mean annual rainfall between 37 centimeters to 65 centimeters. Now, mostly received in the winter months. So, winter rainfall is received through cyclonic storms associated with westerlies. Now, the summer season is almost dry. Most of the rainfall is received in winter. Okay, so summer season is dry, winter season is wet. By the time summer season comes, whatever moisture is there in the soil, it will get evaporated. So soil becomes very dry. So soil water or soil moisture fluctuates from season to season. So winters, the soil is mostly moist. In summers, the soil becomes dry because precipitation is almost negligible, whereas evaporation continues. So amount of soil moisture increases during the winter season because you have rainfall, which allows for maximum growth of vegetation. The dry summer season causes deficiency in the soil moisture content because there is no rainfall and evapotranspiration is very high. So it is very obvious, right? So there is no more need to explain now. So soils they are of different range, right? Soils are not same. In some areas you see very deep soil, in other areas you see very shallow soil, rocks you see in some parts, rocky soil. So soil may range from very deep soils, in some parts you have weakly developed soils, in some parts you have shallow soils, rocky soils, mostly it is rocks or stones. Okay, soil is typically very dry, dusty, and very little nutrients. That means not fertile. Soil is not very fertile. So this is the characteristic of soil. Now it is very different from your temperate grasslands. You see the contrast. So generally chaparral is thought to occur upon thin, porous, and rocky soils that are relatively low in nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. So the soils are very poor in nutrients, dusty, okay, dry soils, and there is a lot of variation when it comes to the depth of the soil, and you can see deep soils in some areas, in other areas it is very shallow or rocky. So due to their coarse nature, that is clay content is less, mostly it is rocks or sandy coarse soil. So whatever water is received, it will quickly move through this soil. Okay, so due to coarse grain and high content of weatherable minerals, the soils are susceptible to erosion on steeper slopes. So if you have mountainous type of topography, undulating topography, erosion is very common. Landslides are very common in these areas because there is not much vegetation to hold the soil. So if there is heavy precipitation, landslides or your erosion is very common feature here. Okay, so sometimes below the soil you will see rock layers or clay layers which will not allow the plants to grow very deep. The roots cannot penetrate very deep. That is why you don't see tall trees here. That is also one of the reason. So coming to vegetation, so from here you will see the characteristics of flora and fauna. Most of the plants are shrubs. There are also some small trees, not very tall but small trees. Okay, so many of the shrubs and trees in chaparral are evergreens. Many of the trees are evergreen type of trees. They don't drop leaves every year. So leaves on these trees are thick like leather. Now obviously deciduous trees, why do they drop their leaves? To prevent transpiration, right? To prevent the water loss. Because in winters, in autumns, temperate region, in temperate deciduous forest, you see leaf fall because winters are very cool, moisture is not available. If at all there is a precipitation, it is in the form of snow. So readily available water is not there. It might be available, but it is in the form of snow. Plants cannot absorb water, which is in solid state, right? So shedding of leaf happens in autumn because the lack of moisture, to preserve moisture. And if the temperatures are freezing, they can also damage the leaves because leaves may contain free water. Leaves have free water, so the tissue might be damaged if the moisture in the leaves or the water in the leaves, if it freezes into ice crystals, leaf tissue damage will happen. So to prevent that kind of damage, the trees, they shed their leaves to preserve moisture, and to protect the leaves from damage, they will shed their leaves. In summer season, deciduous trees, they drop their leaves to prevent transpiration because soil does not have moisture. And if transpiration continuously happens, because mostly transpiration happens from leaf surface, stomata, right? So they shed their leaves to conserve the moisture because soil does not have enough moisture. So transpiration will continue so that plant can absorb moisture. If there is enough moisture, plant can continuously takes moisture from the soil and it can can happily continue transpiration, but soil does not have moisture, so it has to shed their leaves to conserve moisture. But here, evergreen type of trees are there, so leaves are present throughout the year. They do not shed every year, so they remain on the stem for more than 1 year or 2 3 years also. Now, because in summer rainfall is not there, so there should be some mechanism to protect or to conserve the moisture, because leaves are they do not shed, they remain on the tree, so there should be some kind of mechanism to minimize the transpiration. So we'll see that particular mechanism, right? So the leaves are thick like leather to prevent transpiration. Thick leaves help water in the plant, they help to keep or to conserve the moisture in the plants. Some of the shrubs and trees, they have thorns, so leaves are modified into thorns. In some, leaves are modified into thorns to minimize the transpiration. Some of the plants, they develop thorns as additional features. Apart from, leaves are there, but additionally they also have thorns to protect themselves from herbivores. Then, so the structure of the Mediterranean vegetation is such that they can withstand dry summer season. They have to adapt to survive in the summer because there is no precipitation. Precipitation happens in the winter. So the vegetation have adapted in such a way that they can withstand dry summers. So this kind of vegetation which has leathery leaves and very hardy stem, so shrub like plants which have very hard woody stem and leathery thick leaves, so this type of vegetation is called as sclerophyllous vegetation. Sclero means hard. Okay, and phyllis is leaf. So hard leaves, thick, stiff, hard leaves and stems. So they are very stiff and hard, and stem have thick bark. Leaves are stiff and leaves are very hard, and stems, they also have thick bark. So such kind of vegetation is called as sclerophyllous vegetation. So Mediterranean vegetation community consists of variety of sclerophyll plant formation classes, okay, which range from Mediterranean mid-evergreen forest in the coastal lands immediately bordering the ocean to woodland, dwarf forest and scrubs. So Mediterranean region में एक type vegetation नहीं है, so there are different types. So near the coastal region, near the Mediterranean Sea, you have evergreen forest, and as you go interior, so you have woodland, you have dwarf forest and also scrubs. Different kind of vegetation is seen as you move from coastal region to interior. So vegetation community is dominated by trees and shrubs. So shrubs are differently named in various parts of the world. So these shrubs, they are known by different names in different regions. They are called as maquis and garrigue in southern Europe. They are called as chaparral in California, because California is near Mexico. Mexico के साथ attached है ना, so it has a border with Mexico. Spanish language. Chaparro is a Spanish term, right? Chaparro is the Spanish term. So chaparral, कैलिफोर्निया जो श्रब है उसको छपरल बोलते हैं हम लोग. है ना. Marquis and Garrick, it comes from southern Europe. Fimbosh, they are called as Fimbos or Fimbosh in South Africa. They are called as Mallee scrub in Australia. They are known by different names. So these shrubland, they are known by different names. So trees, what kind of trees do you generally see in your chaparral biome? So eucalyptus, it is native to Australia. So eucalyptus is one common tree in Europe, southern Europe. Olive, also oak is common both in Europe and America. So olive, eucalyptus, oak, these are some of the trees that you see commonly in the chaparral biome. Now, what are the shrubs that you see? So California shrub oak. So this is chaparro. Quercus berberidifolia. Berberidifolia. This is called as California oak. So this is the characteristic shrub, very commonly found shrub in the California. So Quercus berberidifolia. Then you have French broom. In Europe, it is common. Then you have yucca. So it is also seen in California region. Yucca moth, yucca plant, mutualism. Remember that yucca. Okay. So herbaceous plants and grasses. What are the grass? So yellow-eyed grass. This is common. Okay, yellow-eyed grass. In case of herbs, so you have sage plant, Salvia officinalis, common sage plant. Then you have oregano. पिज्जा के ऊपर डालते हैं ना, oregano, Origanum vulgare. Then thyme. So these are some of the herbs that you see, herbaceous plants, the grasses that you see in the chaparral. याद आएगा था कि ओरिगेनो हम लोग कहां पे डालते हैं टॉपिंग्स, और तुम्हारा जो जिस फूड के ऊपर डालते हैं वो फूड का ओरिजिन कहां पर हुआ है, वेयर डिड द फूड ओरिजिनेट, और व्हाट इज द प्लेस फेमस फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर फूड. You can relate, right? We don't use oregano in Indian food, right? It is generally used in European cuisine, especially in the Mediterranean region, right? But what is this CWN? वो spelling mistake है, this is an acronym for something. अच्छा, can है, हाँ, spelling mistake. I thought this is an acronym like LOL होता है ना, उस तरह से कोई acronym है. Why? Don't need to. Well, yes, so spelling mistakes can happen. I thought that it is an acronym. Okay, so now plant adaptations. So because the summers are dry, in order to survive in dry summer without any precipitation, the plants need certain adaptations. Let us look into what kind of adaptations they have. This is what is interaction. Biotic and abiotic factors interacting. Adaptations. Through adaptations, you will understand how they are interacting. So there are many plant varieties. So many, more than over 2000 plant varieties are growing in this particular biome. Okay. So they are marked by their characteristic hard, small leaves that can hold significant amount of moisture, because moisture is, I mean, you don't have precipitation during the summer month. Whatever moisture is present inside the plant, it has to be conserved. It has to be protected or conserved. So some plants also have leaves that have hairy texture designed to hold on to and efficiently use the water. If at all any moisture is present in the air, it can form dew and it will reduce the transpiration. Now, plants in chaparral biome, they have root system designed to get as much water as possible to absorb moisture from the soil. Okay, leaves are made from highly flammable materials. So, interestingly, the plants of this particular biome, they are made up of highly flammable materials. However, some have adapted to withstand the intense heat of fires and then bloom. So, fire is also necessary in certain plants so that they can germinate. So, seeds, they're very hard, or they will not allow the plant to, or the seed, the embryo to germinate. So these seed coats or the outer covering of the seed has to be broken. So intense heat from the fire, it helps to break the dormancy and the seed will germinate after the fire. So they have adapted in such a way. So these plants have seeds that lay dormant during the normal condition, but after the fire, the seed outer coating will burn and it will break and the seed will germinate. So chaparral plants have wide and shallow root system. This allows to soak up moisture from maximum area. So they have lateral spread is more than the depth. The root system, they spread laterally more. Okay. So sage plants. So we have seen common sage. Sage plant is also found in chaparral biome. They produce chemicals with extremely bitter taste. Okay, so animals, herbivores, they won't prefer it because of the bitter taste. They also produce a beautiful earthy fragrance after the rain. Then they have several morphological, you can say, characteristics. So plants in this biome, they have several modifications to the leaves and stems. So morphological modifications to withstand these dry conditions. So these such structures are called as xeromorphic structures. That means, to xero means xeric condition. Sorry, dry conditions, xeric conditions. So they have modifications to survive in dry conditions, such as thickened cuticles to reduce the transpiration directly from the leaf through the cuticle. They have hair and sunken stomata. So stomata is not present on the surface like this. Okay, this stomata, it is present here, and they have hair like this. So stomata is here, sunken stomata. Stomata is here, and here you have a lot of hair to reduce the transpiration like this. They are not on the surface like this. So sunken stomata is a modification to reduce the transpiration. So they have sclerophyllous structure. So leaves are very stiff, very thick, leathery. Stem is hard, covered with bark to reduce the transpiration. So such kind of characteristics are called as sclerophyllous characteristics. So sclerophyllous structure, sclero, again, sclero means hard, phyllis means leaf. Okay, so sclerophyllous structure to regulate gases exchange according to the availability or scarcity of water during different seasons. So during the winter months, transpiration rate is normally normal. during the summer months transpiration rate will reduce to conserve the moisture. So they modify according to the season. So sclerophyll, it is a type of vegetation which has hard leaves and short internodes. They upright leaves. Greek sclero means hard. Greek words are sclero is hard and phyllon is leaf. So few tree species such as mastic trees. So here it is mastic trees. They have a mechanism to adjust themselves to changing weather condition during the year. So during the summer months, they will close their stomata. So mastic trees are able to close their stomata during the dry summer season or even during the winter drought if there is less rainfall. Now, now you might have a question. So when they close their stomata, so CO2 exchange, carbon dioxide exchange is happening through stomata. Stomata opens, gases exchange happens. So CO2 will enter into the plant through stomata and CO2 will be used in photosynthesis. So if it closes the stomata, so what about CO2? Carbon dioxide. So here it will have food reserves. The plant will have enough food reserves and it is a survival strategy. So plant survival is more important than food synthesis here. So it has enough stored material, food material to carry on its respiratory needs and every metabolic needs. But it does not have much moisture in the soil and moisture is not enough. So conservation of moisture is priority than the food synthesis. Survival is the main priority here than efficient photosynthesis. Are you getting it? So they close their stomata during the severe drought or if moisture is not at all available, so they will completely close their stomata. So they will carry on with whatever reserves they have. So survival is more important than efficient photosynthesis here. So some trees, they have developed small leaves such as in case of camis. So this is your camis. They allow very little moisture loss through transpiration. In some, they have very thorny leaves. So leaves are modified into thorns like in the case of cactus. In some, they have extensive root systems with strong taproot which will extend very deep. Such as roots of almond. In some plants, they have bulbous or tuberous root, such as your gladiolus, dahlia, gladiolus. So they store their food material, food reserves inside these bulbous or tuberous roots. For example, dahlia. So they store their food reserves in these roots. So they have different strategy to reduce the transpiration. Now, coming to fauna, what are the common animals that you see? So large mammals, if you see large mammals, Californian and the Chilean regions. If you see the California, chaparral of California and chaparral of Chile. So in California, you have this one, mule deer in California. This is the large mammal that you see. In Chile, Chilean guanaco. Guanaco. This is related to your llamas. Okay. Camel family से belong करते हैं. So Chilean, guanaco and llama. These are the two related to the camel. So camel family से belong करते हैं. So Chilean guanaco is characteristic. Llamas जो हैं, they are temperate grassland. They are characteristic of temperate grassland. Guanaco is characteristic of this chaparral biome. Large mammals हैं. So other mammals which are very dominant at present, I mean now, so the mammals that are now dominated by ground squirrels, wood rats, mule deers, chaparral biomes. Predators are also there like wolf, mountain lion. So this is mountain lion. And you have omnivores, diversivores बोल रहे हैं हम लोग. Diversivores means they will eat on diverse food, vegetarian, non-vegetarian. So grizzly bears, they are omnivores. Okay, so these are your predators. Now, other mammals, other important animals include rabbits. Okay, then if you have rabbits, you also have predators of rabbits such as coyote, which are similar to Chilean foxes. Other predators such as lizards, snakes, and several types of raptorial birds like kites, falcons, hawks. They are also common in this biome. Now, most of the original native animals of South American Mediterranean biome, now they have disappeared because of the game, right? Hunting is very common in Africa, right? Now, because of the habitat destruction and because of the hunting, both are responsible. So, conversion of land into agriculture or infrastructure. Okay, so uh, habitation by people have settled, Europeans especially during the imperial or your early 20th century. Europeans have settled in South Africa, which has led to habitat destruction and extinction of many animals. So, for example, quagga, which is a type of zebra. So, quagga, it is a type of zebra. Okay, it was an important species which has now become totally extinct. Now it is extinct. Quagga, it is now extinct. Okay, whereas bontebok, so this is your bontebok. It is a type of antelope. So antelopes, these are, they belong to bovidae. They are similar to cattle. They are not deers. They are similar to cattle. They have now become a rare species and has been pushed to remote areas. Now it is also endangered. So native species have disappeared in these biomes. So insects, what kind of insects? Praying mantis, ladybugs, butterflies, these are very common. Now in birds, hummingbirds, roadrunner, vultures. So this is your roadrunner. You might have seen that cartoon, right? Roadrunner. So I don't know nowadays. I mean, you are all very young, but at when I was a kid, so we used to watch Roadrunner and Coyote. So the yeah, that Coyote used to have different type of strategy, and every time the Roadrunner used to escape. So these are common. Then reptiles, you have lizards. Okay, Phrynosoma, it is a lizard. Then rattlesnakes, Australia, it is very common. Or San Diego gopher, and Komodo dragons. So these are some of the reptiles that are very common. In case of Australia, you have unique animals, right? You have marsupials in Australia. You won't see marsupials in other parts of the world. So Australian Mediterranean biome is characterized by numerous type of birds and animals. So here marsupials include kangaroos, okay, and also you have wallaby. So wallaby, these are wallabies. Wallabies are also type of kangaroos, but smaller ones, smaller in size. So they are called as wallabies. So wallaby, it is a type of kangaroo, but miniature, small kangaroo. Kangaroos, wallabies, honey eaters, whistlers, wren, quail thrush. So these are some of the birds that you see in Australian biome, chaparral biome. Now, there is also keystone species in this biome. So just to include an example of keystone species. So here, coyote bush or Baccharis pilularis. So this is keystone species of this particular biome, chaparral biome. So it is a hardy species, provides food for insects. It provides food for insects. So insects survive on these. It provides shelter or shade for your chaparral wildlife. It also provides nutrients to the soil through nutrient cycling. I mean, organic matter is added, which allows other plants to grow. It is fire retardant and drought resistant plant. So it is a keystone species. Coyote brush. Coyote brush is a keystone species of chaparral biome. All right. Now, animal adaptations. So they use very little water because in summer water is not available. So the hot temperatures have become normal for them, and they have learned how to adapt in sometimes extreme temperatures. So these animals, they are found active during the night. Obviously दिन में गर्म होगा तो रात में निकलेंगे. One of the reason why animals are nocturnal to escape from harsh temperatures during the day. Chaparral plants, they feed lot of caterpillars, silk moths, monarch butterflies, as well as diverse communities of ants, beetles, and other orthopterans. Orthopterans may you have cockroaches, crickets, grasshoppers, praying mantis. They are all orthopterans. So this is a order in class Insecta. So grasshoppers, crickets, they fall under Orthoptera. Your butterflies, moths, they are called as lepidopterans. Just for information. Okay. Now let us see some unique examples. So monkey grasshopper. Okay. So Morsia californica, it is a unique orthopteran native to chaparral biome. So because of its dull brown color, it can easily blend into the twigs of scrub oak, your chaparro. It can blend into the leaves and camouflage. It can hide so that other animals cannot eat it. Large mammals are less common in this biome. So you have seen mule deer. So mule deer is the only large mammal that you see in California chaparral biome. Except mule deers and coyotes, you don't see many large mammals. And these, they can adapt in this type of biome because of their flexibility. They can eat on any type of vegetation. They are not particular that I will eat only this vegetation. They will eat diverse kind of leaves, these mule deers. And coyotes, they don't eat only rabbit. They can eat rats. They can eat other lizards. They have adapted to feed on diverse kind of food so that they can survive comfortably. So they have adapted. They have become, I mean, their diet has become very diverse. They can eat on anything so that they can survive. Okay. So then you have San Joaquin kit foxes. So this is the San Joaquin kit fox and black-tailed jackrabbits. So black-tailed jackrabbits. So you have kit fox and jackrabbits. So one thing that is you can observe in the picture here that I have shown, one thing that is very prominent is their large ears. You can see that, right? In both these animals, they have very large ears. Now these large ears, they help in keeping or help in regulating the body temperature. So because the summers are very hot and dry, they can regulate the body temperature through these large ears. In very cold polar regions, you see the ears, they become very small to reduce the heat loss, whereas in warm areas you see very large ears to lose the heat. In polar bears, the ears are very small, right? You have seen they're not visible properly. Polar bears, they have very small ears. Here you see very large ears, surface area is very large, so that they can lose the heat. Huh. They help in regulating the body temperature. How? You see, in jackrabbit, you see the veins, right? You can observe the veins here. देख सकते हो? Vascularity, we call it vascularity, right? बहुत ही जो जिम जाते हैं उनके हाथों में पूरा वो veins दिखते हैं. वैसे ही इसके कान में veins दिख रहे हैं आपको. You can see the veins in the ears, right? Now, what happens is when their body temperature increases, so what they do is the blood vessels will expand, blood flow will circulate in their ears, and when they move, the air which will flap the ear, air will come in contact, and because of the large surface area, the blood flowing in the veins, it comes in contact with the cool air, it will lose heat. So when the body temperature increases, blood flow increases in the ears, and when it moves, the air will come in contact with the blood vessels and it will lose the heat. So black-tailed jackrabbit has extremely large ears which can reach a third of its body length, almost one third of its body length. So jackrabbit's large ears hold dozens of small blood vessels which expand when the animal is hot. Blood vessels will expand and more blood will flow through these vessels, allowing more quantities of blood to flow through this ear and be exposed to the external environment, cooling the blood as it moves. The wind will come in contact with the ear and it will reduce its body temperature. Okay, so when the animal is cool, the blood vessels will constrict. So when the jackrabbit is cool, the blood vessels constrict, lessening the amount of blood that passes through the ear. When the animal is hot, more blood will flow through the ear, and when it comes in contact with air, it will cool down. So it is a mechanism to regulate the body temperature. Got it? So the varying conditions of the chaparral biome, even humans, we also lost the body hair because of this reason. So when our ancestors, they used to, our anthropoid ancestors, they used to live on trees, right? When the competition increased, and they had to come down because the resources were limited, the forest was shrinking. So during the quaternary period, so they have to come down. They came down from the trees, and from quadrupeds we became bipedal. So we started slowly to walk on two legs. Our ancestor that came down, initially it used to walk on four legs, but later slowly it started on walking on two legs. Now as they came to ground, the resources, I mean, they had to find the food and they had to hunt, so they had to run. So during the running, the body temperature increases, right? If you have a lot of fur or hair, heat will not be lost easily, right? You have to sweat. So perspiration, sweating is a mechanism to cool down your body. So if you have a lot of hair, you cannot sweat. So we lost our body hair because of hunting, and we were used to running, behind the prey to hunt it. So through that mechanism, we lost most of our body hair. Though our ancestors, they still possess that. Humans. Now, coming back to this. So varying conditions within the chaparral biome, the summers are dry and hot, winters are mild and wet. Okay, so During the daytime it is hot, and during the nighttime it is cold. So these animals, they require a body covering which can keep the animal cool during the daytime, and which can also hold heat during the night time. So if it is very furry, the animal will overheat. If it does not have any hair, it will cool down very fast. So during the daytime and the conditions are very hot, during the night time it is cold, so it has to adapt to both. So the body hair is in such a condition, or it is not very thick fur and it is not very thin also. Moderate type of fur is present. So it requires a covering layer which does not overheat the animal during the daytime and efficiently evaporate the sweat, as well as providing warmth during the winter nights, or cold nights, sorry, not winter nights but cold nights. During the day it is very hot, during the night it is cold. So it should have a covering which can do both. During the daytime it is cool, it can keep the body cool, and during the night time it can keep the body warm. So animals in which are living in this kind of environment typically have short, compact coats. They're not very furry like polar bears, right? They have a short, compact coat which can ventilate well and allow the sweat to evaporate quickly, cooling the animal during the daytime and keep the body warm during the night time. It will not lose heat very fast also. For example, let us see the case of a bird, ostrich. So birds also have similar adaptations, with many having the ability to fluff or flatten their feather, allowing them to regulate the heat. One such animal is your ostrich, which has no feathers on head, neck, and legs. Okay, but has a fluffy coat of feathers on its back and abdomen. So it can control the temperature. So during the from head, from legs, and from neck, it can lose heat very easily, and it can keep the animal belly warm during the night time. Okay. Now threats to this kind of biome, almost over. We are about to finish. I thought we could start tropical rainforest also, but we can do it tomorrow. So tomorrow we can do tropical rainforest and desert biome. We'll complete those two topics tomorrow. We'll be left with aquatic biome. Okay, so threats kya hai? Human encroachment, as in case of South Africa, we have seen human encroachment. The chaparral faces threat from urbanization, agriculture, infrastructure development, habitat fragmentation. Okay, then increased fire frequency. So chaparral biome plants, they have the plant material is highly flammable. Okay, during the summer it is very dry and hot, which is very favorable condition for, and these are very mainly bushes, so it can easily catch up fire. Then climate change. Okay, in for every type of biome this is common. Climate change will lead to different precipitation. Temperatures are increasing and precipitation pattern is changing, so this is a danger for every type of biome. This can also lead to animal migration, all those things. Then environmental pollution, this is also threat to all kinds of biomes. So air, water pollution from nearby urban areas can pollute the biome. Then overgrazing is also another danger. So overgrazing, livestock farming. So this is another threat. You can just go through it. So this is not much. There is not much to explain in that. You already know all these threats. Okay, so tropical rainforest and desert will continue. We'll cover it tomorrow. So after that we have succession. Okay, ecological succession and biogeochemical cycles. With that, we will cover the first quarter of your portion. So ecology will be over. Next, we will move to biodiversity. Okay, after that, we will go through wildlife and legislations regarding. And last, we have environmental degradation, climate change. That is the last portion. So first quarter will be over. All right, so that will be all for today. Again, we'll meet tomorrow and discuss rest of the biomes already. Thank you.